Hey guys, welcome to the EG Bleed Blue podcast. This is the podcast where I pretty much talk about everything Evil Geniuses. Um, didn't think there was going to be a whole lot this week, but there's actually quite a bit, at least with the Counter Strike squad. There's actually quite a bit of news breaking there. But I mean, yeah. Other than that, I mean, only things that happened this week. Jojo played in a little uh I don't know. I think it was like a little like opening, just like a fun little opening to the League of Legends year, little tiny like newcomer event or something. I don't know, some like for fun event. Um, and so that was pretty cool. And then other than that, the Dota 2 squad played their first game as the South American roster. So that's pretty interesting. But other than that, there really hasn't been any any news. At least, obviously, none from Valorant and none from Rocket League, really. At least nothing, breaking news wise. But lots of Counter Strike news to come. So stay tuned for that. I also have a little bit of a surprise for you for the Counter Strike segment. So definitely want to tune into that. Although I know you guys always do. Um, it's my most viewed section of the podcast. But to kind of move into some of the other stuff, right? Because I think we'll talk about Dota 2. We'll mix it up. We'll talk about Dota 2 first. Um, and so we'll do DPC South America. How about that? And then we'll slide this over. Yeah, DPC South America just started last week. It was the first week. EG had one game. They played against a team called Infinity, and they beat them 2-0. The first game was a 35-minute game, and the second game was roughly a 46-minute long game. They won 2-0. This was on, let's see, the 12th, so Thursday. Yep, Thursday. That's right. Yeah, I remember that. And yeah, so it was pretty clinical. I didn't get to watch. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch much. But it looked good. Um, so obviously great for them to get out to a quick first start. I don't know how good this team is based on their lineup. I just don't know enough. If any of you do know more about the Dota scene than I do, yeah, just let me know. What your thoughts are on the team and whatnot, because I don't really have anything to kind of base my knowledge off of. I've never seen really these names before. I don't really have anything to expect, and so I'm hoping that this South America will kind of give me an idea of where they are in terms of their roster. I know obviously as an from an organizational standpoint, EG should be top of the top. There really shouldn't be anybody here who who should be a threat, except for the only two names that stick out to me. I mean, I've seen Infinity before. They were, I think, at pretty sure they competed uh in TI. But Thunder, the only two names that really stick out to me is Thunder Awaken and Beast Coast. I've seen Beast Coast quite a bit back when EG would compete in North America. And then also Thunder Awaken, it rings a bell because Thunder Awaken beat Evil Geniuses in TI in uh, in the upper bracket of the playoffs. So I remember that. So yeah, but don't really have too much knowledge to base off of or anything like that. But next week they play 3 games, so we should get an idea of kind of what this team is like, in theory at least. But it's hard to say because they're playing Ravens, which is a team that got destroyed by Thunder Awaken in roughly 30-minute games. Um, and Ravens hasn't won any of their games. They only won one map against Keyed Stars. They won one match, one game against Keyed Stars. Other than that, they haven't looked that good. I don't, so we're playing Ravens, and then I'm sorry, that's the 17th. So that's in 2 days. Should be on Tuesday. So yeah, they're gonna play Ravens on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, same day as the EGCSGO team plays, they're going to be playing against Keyed Stars, which, by the way, Keyed Stars is a new logo. Not a fan. Not a fan of that. Don't know how long they've had that, but not a fan of that. I like the old stuff better. Um, Anyways, besides the point. And EG's gonna play Heat Stars on Thursday. At let's see, what time is that? Um, 6 p.m. Eastern. 6 p.m. Eastern is when they play Heat Stars. They play Ravens. I'm sorry, they played Ravens on Tuesday. They play them also at 6 p.m. Eastern. Is it 6 p.m.? Yeah, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then they play on Sunday, so a week from the day I'm recording this. And they are going to play that game also at 6 p.m. Eastern. Um, so they have all the 6 p.m. Eastern games. So if you want to if you want to watch them, if you've never watched them before and you want to watch them, I know I will try to watch them if I can. Um, you know, they're going to be playing on Tuesday, on Thursday, and on Sunday. Um, I believe that's Sunday, right? 22nd. Yeah. So they'll be playing on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 6 p.m. So if you want to learn more about the team, if you've never seen them play before, if you want to get into Dota 2, maybe this is a good time to step in, watch some Dota 2, get introduced to Dota 2. You don't know anything, so you might as well just go in completely blind and just kind of see. You got 3 games to watch and see if you enjoy watching Dota 2. I know when I've watched Dota 2, I've personally enjoyed it. I just don't understand all the heroes and the champ or not the hero not the champions not the I don't really understand all the heroes, the abilities. I understand a little bit about Dota. I don't nearly understand as much about Dota as I do League of Legends, and that says something considering I don't know League of Legends. I don't play League of Legends. But yeah, so 3 games should be interesting. Hopefully they do well, and it'll be a nice place to kind of see how good they are, see what's going on. Right. So yeah, looking forward to that, and congratulations on the W. Um, you know. So moving on, we've got for League of Legends. This really isn't League of Legends based. I don't know what I should title this. I'll just go with New Jersey leaked. Um, yeah, and I know what you're thinking already. It got leaked. What do you mean it got leaked? Well, potentially. I'm not gonna say it did get leaked, but potentially. Who knows, right? It may not be the actual jersey. It might just be a beta version of it, and JoJo was allowed to wear it. But basically, there was a little event that JoJo was playing, and he had a jersey on. And I don't know, maybe I'm not paying attention, and it was announced and made clearly to the public that that was not the actual New Jersey. I don't know. I just saw a picture of JoJo Pune wearing a jersey, and I saw that it was not a jersey that we've ever had. So sorry about that. And yeah, so look, I have no idea. I have no idea. But if this is the New Jersey, I actually think it's pretty cool. So I'll show you guys on the screen. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the Dota 2 stuff. Here, I'll just do this for a second so you don't have to see everything that's on my computer because it's a mess right now. There's just stuff everywhere. All right, here we go. There's one picture. All right, there's no good way to really show all this, so I'll start like this. Yep. So there's the front, right? There's the front. It looks pretty good. Yeah, I like that it looks much more simple. If this is the New Jersey, right? If this is just under the assumption this that this is the New Jersey. I definitely think this is the best jersey that they've had in quite some time. I think the main thing that kind of frustrates me with EG jerseys is just it. Honestly, it's not because of EG themselves. It's just the sponsors that they just have very bright colors that don't match EG's colors at all, and they just look very weird when you combine them all together. So, like for example, on this jersey, while I do think it's nice and simple, I still think the Wolverhampton logo it's just very different to what EG is, and so it just makes it look very strange and out of place. And then the national or the I'm sorry, I was it Hermit? Uh, I don't remember the brand name. I don't want to mess it up and sound like an idiot. You know what I'm talking about. The top right rectangle. You see what I'm seeing. It's green, and so they decided to put green lining along the side of the jersey and by the sleeve. Look, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but like I don't know. I would have preferred to just not have it at all. I mean, obviously you have to keep the logo of the sponsor, but I don't know, dude. I just it's just yeah. I mean, look, I like the jersey. I think it's better than the other jerseys that have we've had in the past, especially this year. I didn't really care for this year's jersey, the 2022 jersey. It was okay, but it just looked odd. It just you can tell. You look at some of these EG jerseys and you go, that doesn't look that bad, and then you see them compared to like some of the other jerseys. Like Astralis always has god tier jerseys. You know what I mean? Like some of these teams just have such nice jerseys. Um, and they have such personality to where you just see it and you're like, yeah, that's definitely them. You know what I mean? G2 is another one. EG doesn't have that. There's no. It's like when they try to add their own flair to it, it just looks fucked up and out of place. And then when they try to do this, it still just doesn't look entirely right. Um, like I said, I'll show it to you if I can find it in my drawer over here. The point three jersey thing, or like they're not really jerseys, but the point three long sleeve stuff, that stuff is the best, man. That should be what they use as a jersey. That shit is straight fire. I don't really understand. I mean, this is okay. Like this ain't bad, but it's definitely it's I don't know. It's just it could be better. I know it could be. Now I won't lie. The back looks better. It's a very brief glimpse. It's not a very good. There wasn't a lot of time to catch the back of the jersey, but you could see it's got the white on the back with the. I think the back actually looks really good. I really like the back of the jersey. The front of the jersey just looks a bit bland, and I hate saying that because they were the opposite of bland in 2020 with 2022's jersey, and I didn't like that. I don't know what it is about the front. It just doesn't look entirely right, and I really do think it's because of part of it is because of the yellow with the green, and then part of it is because it just looks like a sticker was placed on a blue long sleeve shirt. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I mean, I think it's better than last year's, but it's probably better than the last 2 years to be honest. But I like the back. I like the back a lot more. I do think the back looks good. If this is the jersey, obviously. If this is the jersey, it might not be the jersey, but if it is, yeah. So kind of weird that EG like kind of made a big deal about it just to they made a big deal out of it just to kind of do this. If this is the actual jersey, it just seems like well, so much for the fucking announcement. There goes the marketing team doing their best job once again. Um, I know I give them a lot of hate. Or, well, not really hate. I don't hate them. It's a lot of criticism. And I try to joke around with it too. I don't take it super seriously, but it's like I'm half joking, but I'm half being serious. Like the marketing team's got to do better. Like in some of this stuff, like it's just very strange. With some of this stuff. So, anyways, let me show you what I'm talking about with the other jersey. I'm gonna put my headset down, so hopefully it doesn't make a lot of noise. That was it right there. Um, Obviously, there's not a lot going on that jersey, and then they'd have to add the sponsor logos, obviously, and it would maybe I think be cooler if on the sleeve, similar to how this jacket is, how they have like I can't really the live evil and the evil geniuses, it'd be kind of cool if they had that on the jersey. I think that would be a cool idea. Like I don't understand why can't they do Like, I'm not a rocket scientist. I swear to fucking God, it's not this hard. Like, what you do is you take that color, that dark blue, that really, really dark blue, where it almost looks black, but it's not. You take that, you put Evil Geniuses on the front, you put the logo somewhere where it doesn't look obnoxious. You know what I mean? And then you on the sleeves you put Evil Geniuses and Live Evil. How fucking hard is it? And then you could make the back like this, where it's the white on the back and you have the name of the player and the number that they select, I assume, and whatever is on the bottom here, I assume sponsors, and you just do that. How hard is that? How hard is that to think of? It takes me 2 seconds. And it's not like I neglected the sponsors. You can put the sponsors on the jersey, but you don't have to make it look obnoxious. Yeah, I just feel like the I don't know. This looks kind of obnoxious. They could put it somewhere where it's not so fucking obnoxious. I don't know. Like it's just I don't get it. I personally don't get it. I'm not trying to hate on this jersey if this is the jersey because I do think the jersey is actually again, like I said, the best jersey they've had in like 2 to 3 years. But I just don't understand why what they just have, like they literally have a long sleeve apparel that is perfect. Pretty much. You just have to add the sponsors and like I said, add Evil Geniuses and Live Evil and it's perfect. Like I just don't see any issues with it. They could do so much cool stuff with this brand. This is EG's brand in terms of like just the idea of the name of Evil Geniuses and the whole Live Evil and how if you flip Live Evil backwards, it just says Live Evil still. Like you could do so many cool things with that and they just neglect to do it. They never do it and it makes no sense. Um I don't know. It's just it frustrates me. It frustrates me that a marketing team can have such a cool idea for a brand at their disposal and just neglect to use it in the way that they could use it. And I have no experience in marketing, but it's pretty clear to tell that you could do some cool things with the brand because it's a pretty cool brand in terms of the name and the logo's nice, you know. Obviously, if you're like, obviously, I personally like the old logo, a little bit more, but I'm an old fashion guy. I saw EG back in the day, so that's whatever. But the new logo is good. It's very cool. I like the new logo. Why can't you do something like that? Why does this have to be so difficult? Why does the merch suck? Like, I'm sorry, but the merch that EG has is not good for the most part. It's really not. Like I go to buy stuff and I'm grasping at straws. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm even gonna get. Like what do I even get that I'm gonna actually fucking wear? I'm sorry I'm ranting. It's late. I'm I got an exam tomorrow. I'm ranting for no reason, but there is a fucking reason, actually. It's because I know it could be better. That's as simple as that. I just know it could be better. Um, Still better than obviously last couple of years, but that doesn't mean that it's you know as good as it could be. Um, so I don't know how well you can see the long sleeve when I tried to show it on my camera. It basically just is a really dark blue, almost black, but not quite, long sleeve athletic apparel thing, and it just says it's got the EG logo and it says Evil Geniuses, and that's all it has. But it's simple, and then it has like point 0.3 or something somewhere because that's the people who make who made those shirts. But it's not hard, guys. It's not hard. Like you could do that. Add the sponsors, add them somewhere, but just add them somewhere where it's not fucking obnoxious. There are plenty of teams that have sponsors that have different weird wacky colors that don't fit their brand and they can fit it into the jersey and still make the jersey look good. Why can't we do that? Why is that so difficult? It does not make sense. If this is the jersey, I'm going to consider getting it, but I'm a little iffy. I'm a little iffy. I won't lie, I'm a little iffy. I don't know, dude. I only have last year's jersey because I won it in that Bud Light competition thing for the Super Bowl. Um, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have bought it. Um, so we'll see. We'll see if I get this one. I might just because it's better than the past 2 years, but I might not because frankly, I don't know. Like I said, the back of the jersey looks great. I like this the back of this jersey. I think that looks really good. But the front, I'm a little It's better. It's better. I probably will buy it. I'll be fucking honest. Like I probably will. You know, I'll be too hyped at the start of the season to not do it. And now I have a podcast, so now I actually have to rep it. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, man. I don't know. Just it's a good jersey, but I'm wanting more because I see what Team Liquid is doing. I see what Cloud9 is doing. I see what 100 Thieves is doing, and we aren't doing it. We're not doing it at that level. And if you want to give me hate and be like, well, it's because they're, well, what would you rather have? Better apparel or a better team? And it's like, motherfucker, we're bottom of the table in fucking CSGO, basically. Like League of Legends is good. Dota 2, I don't fucking know. Rocket League, where we didn't even make it to the world's, to the championship stages. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? So, so yeah, I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. And about the New Jersey, if this is the New Jersey. Um, and we'll find out obviously very soon. And for you guys, if you're watching this on Monday, then tomorrow you will see the New Jersey. Um, yeah, let me know your thoughts. If this is the New Jersey, are you gonna get it? Do you think it looks good? Do you? I mean, first things first. Do you think this is the best jersey they've had in a couple years? Number one, and then number two, do you think this jersey is good? Right? Because it can still be better than the other two, but not be good in your opinion. Um, so yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'd be interested to hear them. And without further ado, guys, kick it off to the Counter Strike segment where I have a little bit of a surprise for you guys. Hey guys, welcome to the CS portion of the video of the podcast. And I've got a special guest. I've got Kurrent, who's joining me. Kind of got this set up pretty quickly, honestly. Just kind of DM'd me on Twitter, and I said, at first I was like, why not? I might as well give it a shot. Something I haven't done before. So I'm figuring it out as we go. I'm sure we'll get better as the process moves on, But yeah, just you can introduce yourself, say whatever you want, and yeah.
What's up, guys? I'm Current. I've been watching basically this EG roster since they were NRG back in like 2018 when they said like Fugly and Daps. And when I saw Fusion, he had this whole podcast. I'd always myself kind of thought about giving my 2 cents on the CS scene in NA, and I was like, wow, this seems really cool, and it's about the org that I support. So I kind of, like he said, just kind of hit him up on Twitter probably like a week ago. I was like, hey, if you're looking for somebody else to help, or even if you don't want to, like, I really like your podcast, and I'd like to join. And he was really welcoming and really open to the idea. So
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. So we're repping the EG stuff. We had to. New Jersey's gonna come out. Got to be prepared for that. But yeah, so I mean, without further ado, I guess we can kind of start just talking about stuff that's happened over the week. I was telling him earlier, I was just like, I honestly didn't really think there was going to be anything this week. I thought it was going to be pretty simple. I thought it was just going to be blast predictions, maybe talk about Wiz a little bit more, but other than that, didn't really think there was going to be too much going on. I was wrong, as always. There was plenty of things to talk about. Um, from the Flom Cup that happened all the way to like actual important things. So yeah, I mean, I guess without further ado, like Flom Cup 2023, EG beat 4 bots and Eric, and then lost 2-0 to Strife. I mean, I personally, it's not a big deal to me. Obviously, sucks losing to Strife 2-0, especially when I think EG is definitely better than that. But look, man, it's not ECL yet. They just got Junior was playing as a stand-in. He's just started playing, so like, from in my opinion, it's whatever. It's Junior looked good, I guess, but like I'm not taking anything from this until the ECL starts. It's just a nice tournament to kind of review and watch before the actual CS season starts.
yeah, no, I agree. I think I really kind of pictured this more as like a cash cup kind of tournament almost.
Yep.
Like, I think it's really cool what Flom's doing, and that this tournament kind of existed. Us beating 4 bots and Eric really wasn't like a big deal. I watched most of that match, and he definitely looked better. I didn't really catch the Strife game, but again, like us losing 2-0 against them, I wasn't really like. I'm not too beat up about it. Again,
Yeah.
this isn't like a major event, right? Like,
No, definitely not.
like, but I think, yeah, Junior looking good was probably like a really big positive if he
Hmm.
joins the team or not. Like that's still up for debate, especially since Wiz just got promoted, which we'll talk about later. But I'm not too beat up that we lost to Strife in
Yeah, I
like
mean,
the
it's
middle
like,
tournament.
yeah, yeah. So unfortunately for them, they won't get any prize money because the prize pool is 6K, and it looks like first place is 4K and second place is 2K. But like, man, EG's got plenty. Like, this just does not matter at all.
Yeah, like the Oars got money. I think these guys are salaried anyways, so
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
think
whatever, man.
it's that big of a deal. Yeah.
Yeah. But and kind of going off of that because this does relate to EG Black. EG confirmed that, well, to some degree, it also applies to EG White, but they confirmed that Jeorge is going to join EG Black and that Momo is going to join EG White. I think this is pretty expected, honestly. Momo for EG White has looked really, really good, better than I thought he would. Honestly, I didn't really. I mean, I knew of Momo. I watched him play, obviously, because I watched ECL, but I didn't really know what to expect when he joined. But he's been very good and deserves a spot, definitely. And then Jeorge is, I mean, Jeorge is just right now. He's just the clear cut one of the best riflers in North America at this point. Like he really just is the next guy who probably deserves a promotion to a main squad. Um, he's been super consistent, and so yeah, I just think like Jeorge is definitely deserved, and I personally believe that if Jeorge performs this season and Hext underperforms, you could definitely see a switch there. I you know obviously I want Hex to do well. I'm not saying I don't, but it's potential. Jeorge is just that talented to where you have to consider potentially moving him up to the main roster very soon if he continues to perform the way he has. So,
Yeah. I'd have to agree. I think George is probably besides like main roster signings, it's probably our biggest signing for like one of the
oh yeah,
secondary academy teams. Um, but I think Momo has surprised a lot of people, especially after the whole DJ leaving. Who are we gonna get? Momo stood in. I think people weren't entirely sure if Momo was actually going to join the team or not. But
yeah,
after a little while, I think it was pretty clear that George and Momo were signed or were going to be. I think it was just a matter of time of us actually officially announcing that it was going to happen. But George is really good from what I can tell, and I think you're right. Like I really like Hex. Uh, James a really cool guy. I talk to him a lot on Twitter, and I want to see him do well. But like you said, like if he ends up not doing super well early in the year, and George has kind of really proven himself to be that next guy, then I think yeah, I think you got to look at possibly subbing in George for Hex and see what that.
yeah. It's definitely something to consider. And I mean, look, I don't know role wise how that would work, right? I mean, there's questions about that. I don't know if Jeorge necessarily plays the same roles as Hext, so I'm not saying it's an easy decision, but it's definitely just Jeorge just is that good. He just really is that good. He's shown it multiple times at this point. Yeah, he's the next guy.
He is, yeah. Yeah, I think role wise, I think it would have to like they'd probably have to fill out a couple things because I think Hex is really stepping into that rush kind of positioning
Yes.
of anchor plus support player. I haven't really watched enough of George to know what his roles besides just being a really good rifler
Yeah.
would be, um, and how he would really fit in like a tier one kind of like system. Hopefully, Black and like Stan, Walko can kind of show him the ropes of how they want to do things. And if they do plan on replacing Hex with him, like somewhere down the line, hopefully they kind of groom him in that position, or maybe they just switch up roles entirely.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I could even think of is potentially moving Breeze to an entry role and shifting Jeorge into whatever. If he is more of a the kind of player who's gonna be like your second, your third man in, um, I could see Jeorge kind of taking that position and then Breezy switching to an entry role because he is just a very aggressive player. It wouldn't. I don't think that would be that strange. But yeah, lots of taking that can be done here. And yeah, I completely agree. Jeorge is definitely the best signing that we've had. I'd say for just upcoming North American talent. He
Right.
is
Yeah.
the next man up, so to speak.
He really
Um,
is. Yeah. I think Breeze being entry could probably work a lot better on D side. Right now, I think a lot of the times, I think especially on Inferno, he's slotted in that kind of like lurk, kind of like playing for info kind of role.
Yes.
So I wonder
Yeah.
how that would fit if he was entry, Audie and like Jeorge were like second, third man in. Maybe you could even throw like you could do kind of. I think back in the day, Stanislaw kind of played that lurk role as IGL and do something with that with Nealon. But obviously this is all just hypothetical
Yeah.
if he was
Hmm.
to play second.
Yeah, definitely. All right, yeah. Speaking of players who that we have signed in the past that were upcoming North American talent, we Djay had an interview. He's obviously not with EG anymore, but he had an interview where he was talking about just kind of his experience and kind of switching to ATK and whatnot. And it was a pretty good interview. If you guys haven't seen it, seen it, read it. You can go to it's on dust2.us. Slevo was the one who wrote it. And just kind of the main things that kind of stuck out after reading this in my mind were I guess two things. One, the move happened quick, so obviously there was concern that EG didn't maybe handle the situation properly. It wouldn't be the first time that something, a signing or something happens with them where you're kind of like, I don't really know what just happened. But no, it looks like it wasn't out of the blue for him. He was expecting it to some degree. And then but the big news really is that he mentions that E.G. White he just didn't play many games. They really did not play many games at all with E.G. White. He's played more games since he's left EG than probably his entire time with EG at this point. And he does mention to his credit, obviously, I think the decision was clear. You weren't going to pass up joining EG. You're going to be salaried. There's that's just too much. Of a benefit for a North American player to not sign for, but definitely it definitely brings to light that, hey, look, like the players understand that there's definitely a concern with just not playing many events if you join EG White. It's just how it is. So yeah, what did you is there anything else that you took from it, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I I like how you touched on the fact that like you don't really pass up an opportunity from like EG to be a salary team. Like this, I know DJ, Bentley, Pone, like these guys. Uh, I knew them since New England Whalers, and then they were High Coast. I don't think they were really salaried, but those were actually like kind of true like small orgs, kind of like your ATKs and stuff like that. But then they were like totally on their own, like freelance as party astronauts, and they were that for probably a good while. I think maybe almost a year, maybe a little bit
Yeah,
more. And they
yeah, it
were
was a
doing some
while.
really good things, and a lot of people wanted to see them get picked up. Um, but then yeah, if like EG came to me and said, "Hey, like we want you and your friends to just basically like come play for us, and make money doing so." Yeah, yeah, like you're taking like no matter what. I think DJ does touch on in his interview that they just didn't play a lot. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like it's very true that EG White just it. I don't know where they fit in this whole like scheme of things. Like because
Yeah,
EG Black seems to be more of the academy team than EG White.
it does.
Like
Yes.
when when this whole thing kind of started out, I thought it was almost gonna be like EG Black is kind of our third team
Yeah.
because White at the time was a lot better. Like
Yeah, they were better. Yeah.
they're a tier two team. They're gonna get called up to the main roster if that ever happens. But it seems like a lot of these guys from EG Black are just immediately
Oh yeah.
going to the main roster, and so like I don't know what Easy White's really here for besides playing little things like I think what they did Melbourne, they did that like
Hmm.
fire tourney and like one CCT tourney, and
Yeah,
I
definitely.
I, I yeah I just don't know what they're to do because a lot of people are saying maybe Pone gets that upgrade over Wiz, but like Pone, I think his birthday was yesterday actually,
Yeah, I think it was pretty. Yeah.
but like he's 32, like he's really
Yeah.
good, but like he's 32, like how much more like how high is his ceiling really? And a lot of the guys on the EG White team are a little bit older, so if I'm EG like running this team, like you probably are looking more towards your younger guys, like signing a guy like Jeorge. You have Walko Hex, these kind of like teenagers, almost like just hit 20, 21 years old. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I think it was probably a good thing mutually that DJ ended up leaving because it seemed like he wanted to play more, and Momo came in and he seems to be working. So
Yeah.
again, I just don't know what EG White's like doing, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. They're in a weird position, and it's just I think it's like Djay leaving. I believe he was one of the older members of the team in terms of his age.
Yeah, I think he's
Um,
almost. I think he's almost 30. I think he's
yeah,
29.
and so it's like I could definitely understand why they're moving away from him, and I think it shows that they definitely want to, because I can't see a way, like, obviously, yeah, the biggest problem with EG White is just they don't play in any events because there's no events to play. But another thing is also just the PA roster when they signed them was the next best roster in NA. I still believe in my heart that somehow I think if Gaming Gladiators hadn't kept on to that roster, if that roster had broken up and Gaming Gladiators had left CS:GO like even a month earlier, um, I think they would have picked up that roster instead.
I agree.
But I think PA just was the next best roster, and they signed him. And obviously the concern is age. If this isn't I think this is a sign of EG just saying like, yeah, we're gonna cater, as they probably should. We're gonna start changing players into switching into younger players like Momo,
Right.
and so we'll talk about Ponalone in a bit because we're going to talk about the opping situation at EG
Right.
for all their teams, but it's just it's definitely a consideration, and like it's just weird. They just don't have any. I really, for their sake, I pray that CCT is a consistent thing that happens multiple times, um, because if it doesn't, there's just nothing to compete in,
Yeah.
and it
There's
I hope they have a plan basically because it's looking a little rough,
Yeah, it's looking pretty bad. Like I'm looking at the basically the events EG White all like played fit all onto one browser page, if
Yeah.
that says anything.
Yeah, that's rough.
Like
Yeah.
they played Philadelphia and they won that, which is I think that was actually like probably the highlight of their
Oh
run.
yeah, definitely.
In all honesty, I know they played in Melbourne and they kind of got smacked.
Yeah.
I don't think they got a map off of like anybody,
No, I don't even
but
think the Asian
obviously
teams was
that's
well.
really
Yeah.
good international talent. Yeah, right.
Hmm.
To play against, but them winning Philadelphia was like pretty big. They played like North American like Masters Fall, like last Premier Qual. They
Hmm.
finished 3/4. They did a Cash Cup, which those don't even really count,
Hmm.
and then the CCT. So like yeah, they just don't play enough. Like
Yep.
I want to see these players play because I really like this whole roster, and it feels like almost like I'm about to like break up with a girl, but like in order like in order for them to be happy, like if they have to not be under our banner, like
Yeah.
like be it at the end of the day, because I think a lot of them are. I don't know the We Play system enough, but like I
Yeah.
don't think
It's
they're young enough to play in We Play.
no. I believe the
I'm sure.
age. I believe the age is like. I think the oldest is 22. I want to say the oldest is like 22.
Yeah, I
Um.
think I think you're right. I don't
So
know. I heard somewhere there's a rule where you can have like one player or something like
yes.
one or two over like that rule.
Yeah, you're allowed one
But
player over the age limit, but yeah,
right,
yeah.
but like I'm sure there's definitely a combination where if like you mixed white like easy white and black together, you could probably make a We Play team out of that. But at this point, like you risk like breaking up both these teams just to make an academy team and have the other one play like Challenger League and
Yeah, it
like
becomes difficult with ECL being pretty much all the time. You know.
right, yeah. So I think almost if they don't play enough this year, I think they should probably just drop this roster and hope that they get picked up somewhere else with like find a better home where they can play like Challenger League and kind of develop them on their own.
Yeah, because it pretty much is either if they can't find out any ideas on what to do with the roster moving forward, it is pretty much either drop them or the only other thing is really just retool this roster into something that can compete at WePlay because there is just no other events, and frankly it's not good for the players from a you know from their standpoint because yeah they're getting paid but they're not developing any the whole point is that they're going to develop, and if they don't play matches they're not going to develop, and I understand that if they go to WePlay to some degree now obviously WePlay doesn't happen as often, so there's going to be time where they're back in the states, but obviously if they're not in the states it does mean that EG Black's not really going to be practicing with any of the other EG teams because they're not going to be in the states. But I think that's definitely look. You do the cost benefit analysis on that. If you can have young players compete against European competition in European and CIS competition that is really really good, listen, they're probably going to get banged out, but like it's definitely worthwhile. Like there's no reason not to do it if it's possible.
Mhm.
And we were talking about it. I understand the difficulties. It's pretty hard to tell an 18-year-old kid and tell their parents that they're going to go to Europe to go compete in a video game land tournament. You know, I get it, but you got to figure out the purpose of this roster because it's getting pretty dire at this point.
Yeah,
Um,
it's honestly kind of sad because I was really excited when they joined, but
yeah,
after now basically almost a full year of them being with us, almost like they just haven't done really anything.
yeah,
Like I I think we play is really the play to go with because I mean if you look at we play, I mean like Mouse is like 3 out of 5, almost 4 out of 5 players come from
yeah,
the academy. NPL, Bit, Head Trick, Mondesi, they all come from like the academy league. So like
hmm
if you get one of our rosters or able
there's
to
quality players there. Yeah,
like retool one of our rosters to hit that like requirement to go play and replay, I
hmm
think we almost have to do it. Like
yeah, definitely.
even like you said, if we get smacked, like so be it. Like I know that EG White got smacked in Melbourne, but I think a lot of them enjoyed being over there and playing like that higher competition. And like
Yeah,
they're always in that weird EG White's in that weird thing where I think I don't know at this point, but at the time they were better than EG Black, but
yep,
not as good as the main. So like
yep,
where do you slot them in? Because they probably just like do really well in like Challenger League,
hmm
but then they're not good enough to play like in some of these blast tournaments and stuff like that. So like, yeah, I just don't know where they really slot.
yeah. It's definitely one of those where it's like back in the day when it was Face It and ESL. Maybe you could have been like, oh, well, we're gonna have the main team go to ESL, and we're gonna have, at the time,
Right.
PA, EG White was good enough, you know, that team could go to Face It, but that's just not a thing anymore. So it's like
It's just not.
there's no DreamHack Opens to go to, like those tournaments just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
If there were more yeah, that's a good example. Like if there were more kind of dream hack type of tournaments, those would be almost perfect for
oh,
Simcast.
it'd be great. Yeah,
Where it's like the guy literally other teams like them that are like on the come up, kind of like back in the day Sprout was kind of on the come up.
yeah,
They always play dream hack events and now they're doing super well. But there's just like you said, those tournaments just kind of don't exist anymore.
hmm yeah,
Where they could play against other like teams like Gamer Legion, like 9Z, like Complexity would probably play in a couple of them
oh yeah,
games now. So, but those just don't exist anymore. So I don't know how they're going to slot these guys into either being promoted or playing more to have more representation.
right, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, real quick, I guess we've got we'll kind of gloss over this pretty briefly because it's good news, but it is. At first, I thought this was like I was telling you, I thought this was going to be as an IGL position somewhere on either EG White or EG Black, but it looks like Shakezullah is reportedly potentially going to join Evil Geniuses as a he's listed as an assistant coach. Looks like it's going to be for the main roster because he's listed as an assistant coach on the main roster, I guess. And he's not in Europe with them, the guy's competing at Blast, but he's listed as an assistant coach, and obviously I'm sure they could figure out some way where they can communicate. Um, Not sure how much he's going to be able to help because this is very, very recent, and Blast is literally this week. But definitely in my eyes, good news. Shakezullah is one of the more prominent IGLs. He's been a prominent IGL in North America for a while now. He was with that Triumph roster when they had Grim and they were just tearing it up. Um, so I'm all for Sheikh Zula coming in. I think he's going to bring a lot of knowledge and experience. I think he's a little bit older as well. Um, so he can definitely help. Listen, anything to kind of lessen the load is what I've learned from seeing the structure of the coaching system. Any pressure they can alleviate and kind of spread out a little bit better is definitely the way to go. So yeah, really, I think this is
Yeah,
a good move.
yeah, I think it is. I think Shake's always been kind of like this underrated IGL. I think he reminds me a lot of like Daps
Yep.
back in the day, like super big brain, super smart, but like kind of just mechanically wasn't always like super gifted. He's not like how we talked about earlier, like stamina. Bobby
Yeah.
is really good like mechanically and IGLing, but Shake on the other hand is just really smart. He's always performed actually well against I'm pretty sure EG.
hmm
Uh, you know, obviously I think his last big team was probably that Bad News Bears team when Junior was still on it, and they actually like
Yeah.
played super well. But then Junior left, and that kind of set things in storm. But But no, I think just in general, this is a good pickup. I think it's good to kind of spread out some of the stuff. I remember Warburg saying that a lot of the other like where he comes from, right? You have almost coaches for like every.
Yeah,
Whereas in CS, like either we don't know there's more coaches behind the scenes, or there are, but we just don't hear about them. But at least we're hearing about these guys getting picked up. I made a couple tweets saying that we basically just own NA at this point.
yeah,
Like if you just want to get picked up for something, just like make a tweet at Nicole and see if there's a spot for you to play.
yeah. Pretty much. Yeah,
We'll slide in.
we'll
We'll
sign
slide in.
anybody for any role at this point.
Yeah,
Um,
but again, I think this is a good pickup.
yeah, yeah. Uh, the big news for the week, the big news for the week is the opping situation because obviously with Cirque leaving, it meant that there was a role to be filled, and it was a question as to whether or not who is going to take that spot. Is it going to be, is EG going to sign a Mantu or a Woxic or someone like that, or are they going to sign? Are they going to promote Wiz or promote Pwn alone? What's going to happen here? Who are they signing? What's going to go on? It was rumored it was going to be Wiz, and it turns out, yeah, it's definitely Wiz. So he has been. He is the official opper for the main team. And yeah, I guess kind of uh man, it's weird. I really like Wiz. I've been following him for a while. And I was really excited with the way he was playing at ECL last season. For the last couple, like two or so ECL seasons. I don't know how many he played with EG at this point. I think it's 2 to 3. Um, but he's been great. Um, I'm still a little worried that this is premature, mostly because look, and I know it's like it's hard to tell because it's like there's just not much competition for an opera in North America to really go up against to say, okay, well you've done this, this, and this, so you should get the move up. Because there's just not much opping competition, let alone actual competitive team, competition to really justify it. But really, what I'm worried about is just, man, the offers that he's going to have to be opping against is just unreal. And look, Cirque was getting better. He wasn't playing well, but he was getting better. I don't know that I'm just a little worried. This might be a little too early. And I hope he doesn't get a loss of confidence if he does not play well here because I think he's got potential. I'm, but it's just this is definitely a big step up from what he was competing in before. And so, I worry for the guy, but I hope he does well. Um, so yeah, what are your thoughts on at least for just Wiz
Yeah,
joining, the main roster?
yeah. I think I know we talked about it earlier. It's kind of a double edged thing for me. Like I really like that we're staying internal because
Hmm.
I think we got a lot of flack when we picked up Nealon
Yeah,
because people are like, oh haha, you have like 15 players and you end up just like signing
yeah,
someone
you're
out
outsourcing.
of the
Yep.
org. But so I like that we're staying internal. I think Wiz has a lot of potential. But in hindsight, at the end of the day, is this going to be better than picking up Woxic, who was on the table, Mantu's on the table, like these guys that have proven that they're good, like tier one offers. Obviously, them being international probably has some things to do with that. Like, do they really want to come to basically move their life to NA to play for this NA org that hasn't been doing so hot as of late? I think you make a good point that there's not a whole lot of opping competition that Wiz has gone up against recently. Ever since OC basically joined Liquid, and Junior's been out of the scene since Halzer can play someone Complexity. I mean, you have Pone, but you probably just scrim against him since he's on your team.
Yep.
And like, who else in NA like opping wise is there really to like compete against? That's gonna give him a run for his money. And we even talked about like coming up in Blast, like he's in the group that we're in. You're either opping against Cadian first
Yeah.
match, or you're gonna op against Device or Zywoo. So like I'd
It's a
I'd
brutal
be
opping
super
lineup,
ecstatic.
man.
Like that's literally a welcome to tier one like moment. Like
Oh,
pick your
jeez.
poison. Like those are three of like the best ops currently in the world. I guess Device is still like yet to be seen if he's back in form, but still, I mean, that's still
Yeah.
just a name to hear, and you're like, okay, well,
Yeah, it's like
like
you've got two options. You can either opt. I mean, listen, I'll put Cadian to the side because Cadian's whatever. But
that's
you have two options. You have Device, one of the best players of all time, and one of the best, most consistent AWPERs ever. Or you can play Zywoo, who's like
He
basically
just got
probably one of the
yeah,
like he's
literally
eventually
listed
will
number
be.
2 in the world
Yeah,
right
like
now.
just
So
have fun with that, dude. Like, and by the way, you don't have like star. Like, listen, the rest of EG's roster is like,
yeah,
they're good players, but they're not gonna match up
we're not in
very.
form enough to be like carrying
Yeah, you're
like
not like, well, at least
Momo.
Breeze can carry some of the load. Like, no, like
No,
it's
like we're
gonna be
not there
tough for
yet.
Wiz. Like he's gonna struggle. I hope he does well. I hope he shows some promise. That's really what I'm looking for him at this event. Is I'm hoping he shows some promise because
Yeah,
I just don't want him to go into the event just bomb out, be like one of the worst rated players at the event. My biggest fear, and we'll get to this in a second when we talk about predictions, but my biggest fear is looking on the stat sheets after this event and seeing Wiz and
yeah.
Hext at the bottom of the
Bottom of
of the tournament statistics. Like, I don't want to
yeah.
see that.
No,
Um,
I don't want to see that either. I think I will say uh, I'm glad we actually got an opper over
oh yeah,
someone automatic to opping. Because a
100%.
lot of
Yeah.
people are like, oh, he opt on Gen G. It's like,
Yep.
yeah, but like he's even said after that whole Gen G team disbanded that he was like not happy.
Yeah.
Like it's not his role, and I know we talked about it. Like he's kind of like Nico in the fact of like he's just a better rifler than he would be an opper. And I think I'm glad that we at least got a true op over switching someone's roles because obviously we saw what happened in NIP, right?
Yes.
Like they had a whole op situation of is it ESA tag now it's res now it's not res we're getting head trick like and they've just been like a mess. So I'm glad we actually got someone that is an actual opper.
Yeah. Glad we got something that's not a temporary fix.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
because
yeah. Definitely
that
agree.
really would have worried me. I think I wasn't here. Obviously, this is my first episode. I wasn't here for the whole Cirque leaving situation. Uh, I I want to say my kind of 2 cents on
Yeah. Go
that.
for it.
The, in the fact of like it, it's hard because statistically, like he was just not performing,
No,
right?
he
Like, yeah,
wasn't.
you could see in game though, like his movement, like the way he was playing a little bit more confident, a little bit better. I think he gets too much hate of like how he played, like and how he wasn't doing well. I think I made a tweet like, you got to think about Breeze and Cirque. They've been through different orgs, like 3 or 4 different IGLs, 2 or 3 different coaches, and like these things like really just like affect. I mean, think about it when you play CS with your friends, right? You're like all good and dandy, but as soon as you solo queue, like you probably play like a player. Whereas like I can't imagine what it is at tier 1. So I think he gets a lot of flack for how he performed. I think a lot of people don't take in consideration how many changes he had to go through. But um, I'm surprised it happened now of all time.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Definitely.
surprised they didn't at least let him have a boot camp or two and maybe a tournament or two to see if he's like here for this year. Um, Again, it's one of those things where I guess if you really want to start the new year out, you could just place him with Wiz and just really get a super fresh start. But I think we probably could have seen him play this tournament and maybe even kind of Vite play in and then made the decision. But again, I think statistically, it just he doesn't have the stats to back up him actually being on our main roster at the moment.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
has all that experience too, which sucks. And he's
Definitely.
also super young. Like he's only like 21.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I do like to overall. I think Wiz is a good. He has good potential. Um, so we'll just have to see. But I am scared to see the stat sheets after
Yeah, I'm a little worried. I
this
won't
last
lie. I'm
tournament.
very anxious for this event. I was excited, and now I'm anxious. I was anxious anyway, but now I'm even more anxious.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, and then well, before we talk about Blast, because we're still just to kind of stay on the
yeah,
opping topic a little bit here, because like we mentioned at the beginning, EG Black was using Junior in the Flom Cup, and it would not surprise me honestly if they signed him. I think that
yep.
I'm
It would
expecting it to
not.
happen.
Yeah,
Uh,
I honestly think it will.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's
who else are you gonna pick up to fill in for Wiz?
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
unless this is like an unknown thing of like Wiz isn't on the roster permanently, and they like expect him to go back down, which would be really like demoralizing, honestly. If I was a player and they're like, we're gonna try out for one tournament, you might be back down in like a week. But I think honestly, I think Junior just gets it. If Wiz is gonna be a permanent stay as of right now for the main roster, I think they just and Junior has no reason not to sign because I don't know another NA org or really any other. regional org like South America because he had that stint on Furia
Hmm.
that would really take the jump on him because he hasn't really just performed well at tier one. So we'll see. I think he.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kind of like, look, I mean, I'm trying to look here at some of the options other than Junior. The problem really is that Junior just has so much experience. It's hard to pass up on a guy like Junior. But the only things I can think of is maybe Cynic. There was an operator who was on Strife. I don't see him on the roster anymore. I don't remember. It's his name's not coming to me, but he was okay. So I would have thought maybe him. I think Woohoo used to play for Vendetta. I know he's
Yeah,
got a lot of talent, but I don't know if he has any other problems. The only other name that's coming to mind is from Iron Blood, Dare. Dare's pretty
yeah.
good. Um, but other than those names, I I have a sleeper pick. The sleeper pick, and I would love for him to join any of these rosters, any of them. Uh, it's Wolfie. Um,
Oh,
I
dude.
think that would
Yeah,
be such a cool move.
that
And he
would be
just
really
got
sick.
released from Fnatic. He just got released from Fnatic Academy, and he mentions he's 24 years old. He's 24 years old, and he mentions I would love to play on a North American team if I could. I think I can bring a lot, but I will probably end up playing in Europe since there are not so many teams over in North America. Well, EG has the money, can do that for him. Like, look, and frankly, with him, not only do I think he would do extremely well because he's been playing against European competition for so long at this point, but I just think he's one of those players, man. If you put him in and he performs, I mean, again, depends on how Wiz does in the main roster, but you could definitely see a world where Wolfie's moving up into that main roster spot because Wolfie has European experience and he's a young player and he's an opper.
Yeah,
It fits so well. The timing couldn't be any better, honestly. Um,
right.
so that's the sleeper pick that I have in mind is that I think Wolfie would be a really, really interesting player to consider, and I think would be a really good idea. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. But I think they're going to go with Junior. But I do think it would be a really, really cool option. And maybe it's one of those where maybe Junior goes to EG Black and maybe Wolfie goes on to EG White. Because I don't think Ponalone is going to. I think if there was any time for him to get the move up, it was now. It was right
Yeah,
now. And the fact that it hasn't happened, I'm like, I don't know, dude. They're signing younger players, which is what I want them to do. But unfortunately for Ponalone, it means there's a lot of, they're probably not going to select him to get the
yeah,
move up. I mean, the only way that I can think of at this point is if Wiz doesn't perform, which if he doesn't perform, who's to say they don't pick Junior over Ponalone?
right.
So yeah, so
I
it's just
think
a
I
weird
would.
spot.
I'd probably take Junior over
Yeah,
Pone.
yeah. I mean, look,
Um,
he's been
pu-
inconsistent, but like
yeah, purely experience based, right?
the ceiling is higher.
The ceiling is much higher. I think, yeah, I think it's unfortunate for Pone at this point. I didn't even think about Wolfie.
Yeah, I
Man,
kept him. I kept that was my sleeper pick. I didn't want to tell you yet. I didn't want to
yeah,
tell you. I wanted to keep it a
Fusion didn't
secret.
tell me in like our briefing before this. He didn't
I
tell me
kept
he
it
was
a
gonna save
secret.
it. But that's I totally forgot about Wolfie. But yeah, that would be really sick because you're right. He did just get released from Fnatic Rising, and man, yeah, that'd be a really cool pickup because he has been playing. I think what because Fnatic Rising wasn't We Play, right?
Yeah, I think they were. Yeah.
So he's been playing with that. I mean, that's pretty huge. Again, I don't think that would probably
Nah,
happen.
probably not.
I think the fact that Junior just played with us in this like little Flom Cup, they're probably already thinking about maybe picking him up
And he played well.
unless and he played well. I think
Which
he
I'm
played
like,
well.
I'm with you on that one. Like, dude, it's just what Junior does. He just destroys tier two competition, but
Right.
they'll
As
probably
soon as he
consider
hits
it.
tier one, he just becomes inconsistent.
Yep.
I think him making that move to Furia was kind of just like not a good
Not
play.
the move for him. No.
I mean, Tarek and Stewie tried to do it, and that didn't really work. So,
Yeah.
but but keeping on EG, yeah, I think Wolfie is a really cool like theory craft kind of idea. Um, but I think Junior's probably going to be the pickup that they go with.
Yeah.
You never know. They could like maybe in the back with all the rocket scientists over at EG, maybe they're
Yeah.
thinking about Wolfie in the back of their head or something. Um, but yeah, I think that'd be interesting to see Wolfie slot into where Pone is now.
Yeah.
And filling with that team because I think Pone's 32, and I like you said, if there's a time that Pone got the call to go to the main roster and really try his luck at Tier One CS, it would have been at least for this like group stage play
Yeah.
for Blast, like because it could have been as simple as they just don't have an answer. We're gonna just go with possibly best option and Pone, give him a shot.
Hmm.
Doesn't play well, we'll just throw him back down and then keep looking at our options for Katowice. But yeah, I think the opping situation is very weird in NA as of right now
Yeah,
because
and oh yeah, go for it.
well, no, I'm just saying it's just you know Sir, we almost always classified Cirque as NA because he had been
Yeah,
with NRG and in NA for pretty much his
ages.
entire career. I think what he played for Wendigo and like that for maybe
Yeah, a long
Shakezullah.
time
So
ago.
one of those
Yeah,
like tier two teams, like and then immediately made the jump to NA. So he'd always been with us. But then after that, it's like you don't really count Nitro. He opted because he had to on Liquid. I mean, obviously OC his whole career has been really awesome to watch, and he didn't do super well. But now that he's picked up, he's been doing well with Liquid. Junior had a lot of promise on B&B, but then made that move to Furia. You have Wiz, you have Pone, and then besides that, it's like, who do you have? An NA,
yeah,
right? Like, you don't really have a whole lot of people.
yeah. I think one thing that would be interesting, just kind of that just kind of gave me time to think about it, would be potentially what you do, is maybe Wolfie's a little bit. Again, I'm still riding this theory craft a little bit for a second, but
Go
let's
for it.
say Wolfie somehow joins EG. Um, I think what would be interesting is if Junior. I know he just played with EG Black, but if he actually went to EG White, took
Mm,
Ponalone's spot, because EG White tends to participate not in many tournaments, but they tend to participate in events with European
like higher
teams.
tier kind of competition.
Yeah, like sometimes they do compete in some events with some higher tiered opponents. Um, so maybe Junior goes there because he's kind of already proven that he can destroy tier two talent. That's not really why you're gonna bring him onto the roster. So maybe you put him in that position, and then to kind of feel out Wolfie to see kind of how good he is, to have a benchmark to compare him to with like Wiz and Junior and whatnot. You put him on EG Black and you see how he does in the ECL seasons. And look, I mean, I think he would do well, but then you would really be able to tell, and you'd be able to learn. You'd have more games to play, so you'd be able to see how he likes to play and kind of learn his style and everything a lot more. I think that would be interesting. Again,
That would be
probably
fun.
not going to happen, but like if I'm theory crafting, that's just
Yeah, yeah. Might as well think about it. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's fun, might as well.
yeah. I think that would be a interesting route to go because you're right. He would get more games on Black Junior just signing anything. I think if you're Junior, you probably just take it. Kind of
Yeah.
like kind of how we talked about that. Like if you're PA and you got that offer from EG, you just kind of take it.
Yeah, he's in a weird
Um,
spot. Yeah, because he's just like he's too good to be in tier two and not be making some
Not good
money,
enough to
but
be.
he's good
He's
enough.
literally EG White. They're
Yeah, he
almost
literally is.
too
Yeah,
good to be. They're almost
match
too
made in
good to
heaven.
be in tier two, but they aren't good enough to be in tier one. And maybe Junior's that answer for him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Right? Like you would drop Pone, you keep Momo, Viz, Benley, Jonesy, and then you have Junior come in, who's played for some of the bigger orgs in tier one for NA, like Furia, like Complexity, and even though he hasn't performed super well, like if they play the right tournaments together, then yeah, they could really tear some stuff up. I
yeah,
think, and then bringing Wolfie onto Black to get him more games with our rosters would be really sick. And then like we've been saying, like if Wiz ends up not performing, you slot in Junior or maybe Wolfie, whoever would be performing best at that time. But I totally forgot about Wolfie, man. That was a big shocker because dude, okay, well he left NA so
yeah.
long
Exactly.
ago
You
that
just don't think about it anymore. Yeah,
you kind of just forgot about him. Like it's literally the inverse of Cirque. Like he left for EU, so now he's kind of just an EU guy, but he's not.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a big shocker. Yeah.
All right. The last thing we got, predictions for blast groups. I'm smiling because I just I'm anxious. I'm so anxious, and I just don't like. Yeah, my heart wants them to do well, but I mean, my brain is just telling me this is doomed. Like
It's not looking good. I think we
this is
maybe got
brutal.
like none of the groups are great. Maybe
No.
Group C,
Uh,
but like but
yeah.
like group but like we're first match we're playing the number one team in the world, which it's like it's solicited, right? Like I
Number
mean
one.
we're
Yeah.
quote unquote number one, but like we're the lowest ranked team going into this tournament. Um, I I actually already did notes from this match. I think we have an 0-2 loss against Heroic, just straight up. Um, looking at the map pool, Heroic's map pool is just way bigger than ours is.
Oh, definitely.
Um, as of right now, especially since Dust 2 got taken out,
Hmm.
which was one of our like maps that we were really like getting on. Especially with that being taken out of the map pool. it's just not looking good. I think we're probably gonna see like Nuke overpass Inferno in some fashion. I don't know what order it'd be. Maybe there's a shot, like boot camp went super well, and we end up getting maybe a map because I think a lot of people. What's the saying? It's like a swordsman doesn't fear like the master, but fears like the guy that doesn't know how to wield it.
Yes, that's
That's kind of
exactly
like
it. Yes.
that's like the position we're in. Like people, I think a lot of these tier one teams are like, we don't know what these guys are going to be able to do.
Yep.
So maybe we come out and like shock some people. I don't think we see an Anubis or a Mirage. I think Warburg's been tweeting about how much he hates both of those maps, which I totally, I definitely agree. Maybe we surprise pick with like an ancient or something, but again, I think heroics is looking too good over us right now. Their map pool's too bigger than ours, and it's probably looking like we'll play Astralis in the lower bracket, which also isn't ideal. But they haven't been hot. They have is it Buzz now?
Yeah, they have
Buzz is looking really
Buzz.
well.
Yeah.
So maybe we're able. Maybe they're a little shaky too, and maybe we're able to clutch something up against them. But I I'm with you. Like I want us to really do well, but like mentally, like I'm honestly expecting like a quick exit.
Yeah, I think the way I'm looking at it, I'm just like I'm hoping best case scenario we get to the consolidation final.
Hmm.
Uh, Maybe at that point, because it's the same format, so it's all just kind of depends on the seeding. If you do that, you'll get put somewhere. I still think in like the first round, or so, maybe. I don't know. I
I think
can't
so.
remember 100%, but I'm just hoping that my hope is that they compete with people, that they actually give people a run for their money. Um, that's kind of the best thing that I can think of. In terms of maps, I think the map that's in my mind actually might be the interesting thing to see if they play it, is Ancient, because
Hmm.
I actually thought they were pretty good at Ancient when they were putting in. They didn't play it very often, but when they
Yeah,
did, it looked promising. And Automatic looks like that cave position is just perfect for
it's
him.
made for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's the map that I'm really interested to see if, I don't know if it's going to get played, but if it does, I definitely want to see how well they perform on it, because I think that map was low key actually pretty okay for them.
right.
Um,
Yeah,
Anubis is interesting to me. I don't. I'm a little. I wonder if they'll play it. Um, I know Vorborg
yeah.
mentioned that, but like I also he hated Dust 2 and we played that a lot. I don't know,
That is
maybe,
true. That is
but
very true.
I
He did not
just
like this dude.
I'll be interested to see if they play it. They might do it. I would imagine it would be wise for them to do it, in the sense that it's not a map that people 100% have figured out at this point.
Right.
So if you have put in a practice into it, it could potentially give you a cheeky upset win
It
on a
can.
map against an opponent that's better than you. So that's obviously an option. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, the staples of their map pool probably going to continue. You're probably going to see a lot of overpass.
A
Mirage
lot
is
of
probably going to be there. Nuke is going to be there. I think those maps are pretty much like those have been their bread and butter. They've liked playing them, so they'll probably continue to play those. But I'm very interested to see Ancient if they're going to play it, because I think it had promise. Um, so
I agree. Yeah, I think if they've been working Anubis, I think they could leave that as like a map three, like a map three type of situation, to where if they end up going to a third map, they might be able to surprise a couple people. Because kind of like what Liquid in 2019 or 20 really were like dummy good on like Vertigo for whatever reason, and even
mhm.
beat like competed with Astralis on Vertigo and Duke. So I actually see us doing a lot better on some of these more technical maps like Duke Overpass. I see a lot better things out of those maps than more than like the puggy maps, right? Like Infernal Mirage. Like typically, I
Yeah,
think we kind of get out aim and out traded on those maps. Whereas on like I think we strategically look really good on Nuke, especially CT side most of the time. I think obviously the past years our T sides have always been a lot to be desired. Uh, Especially like Stewie's T sides were just like really bad. Stands were bad once Ethan and Tarek left. Like our T sides have been really, really, really flat. But they've obviously looked a lot better recently. But yeah, that one or two matches that we did play on Ancient was good. I just wasn't sure if we'd want to go up against Heroic on Ancient just
yeah,
because they are really good
they
Ancient
do like
team.
playing it. Yeah.
So I was just that's why I left it out of my prediction. Was
Oh
like I
yeah,
just wasn't sure if we were going to want to play them on that map. But it
for
would be
sure.
interesting to see Anubis.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I think it'd be a cool
Yeah, and like I mean, I will say that it's not like I'm very, you know, I'm very, bearish right now on EG for this group stage, but I will say it's not like these teams are invincible. Heroic have shown weaknesses. They did have a strong second season to last year, but it was very up and down. The roster, it sometimes they perform and it sometimes they don't, and it just kind of depends on the day. Astralis with Buzz isn't exactly the most enticing thing you've ever seen. And even though Device is back and he looks good,
Hey,
look,
they have Hunden now though.
yeah, they have Hunden though, so look, Buzz probably won't be there for long because Hutton's going to find the next best talent and he's going to pick him and
Yeah,
put him on that team. But Buzz doesn't look like anything special and could be a
no.
serious hindrance to that team. So,
I think you
and
almost keep Mister over Buzz at that point just because Mister's played that long.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
It's
we
just,
showed promise. I mean, like we had that really close like series with Liquid
yeah,
in
yeah, at the
the
RMR, yeah.
like I think even when we played like Cloud9, I don't think we played great
No,
on one of
we
them,
played them multiple times, and it
but
at first it was really bad, and it got. I mean, it was still not great, but it was better the last time we played them than the first
right,
time. So,
right. But I'd rather lose like a Cloud9 than losing to someone like 9Z, like how we lost
oh,
in
definitely,
like the Challenger stage. Like that was
definitely,
super sad. But no, I think you're right. Like I think if we can shock some people and maybe just compete with them, I think that would really prove that this thing is really working how we
yeah,
want it to work.
yeah,
Uh, like if we can go have those liquid score lines, right, where we lose 2-0, but
they're
they went to
close.
like double, like single, double overtime, right? They're close matches. Like I think a lot of people would probably start putting some respect on their name, like, oh, okay, these guys are actually like here now, like they're actually competing. Like I think that would be a really big thing to see. Is just big improvement. Really just to see how this Wiz thing is going to work out.
Yeah, yeah. I want to see. Hopefully, we're losing a map. I want to see at least 10 rounds. Is what I'm kind of praying for.
Yeah,
Hopefully. But yeah, like look, Astralis, they don't look great. Obviously, they're probably the
even
team that we
Vitality
could
doesn't
beat.
look like super strong
That
right
yeah,
now.
that's what I was gonna get to. I mean, Vitality. They have Zywoo. I'm not saying EG's gonna beat Vitality if they play them,
Right,
but I am saying that Vitality is not a perfect team. Spinks hasn't not been great for them. Um,
right. Spings
like
having a
he hasn't.
great. Magic's
hmm
been doing better, but Dupree has
Dupree's
been
struggled.
pretty
Yep.
flat. Apex isn't obviously a fragger
Yep.
all that much, so
Yeah. None of these
you
teams
still
are
obviously
invincible.
worry about 1.30 rated Zywoo, but like
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
you know, like you could say the same thing for a lot of these teams. I think one of our downfalls is we don't have that like one superstar yet. Like it's
Yeah.
not clear cut really. I think there's a couple options. Like Automatic's probably our best performer as of right now. But who's to say like Breeze doesn't like come back and start really like getting back to form and like who's to say Wiz like doesn't surprise a couple people and ends up doing really well this tournament.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. And it's
yeah,
go for it.
these guys like you said they're not like invincible teams. I think CS is right now in the stage of like everyone's really competitive because it went from like Navi to then like FaZe looked like they were gonna get like the Grand Slam and they never got it because they started falling off after the major. And Heroics listed as number one. I wouldn't really count them as a number one, but and then outsiders of all people they won the major.
The fact that
Like
Norbert has a
it's
major is
there's
just
a lot of
baffling to
different
me.
like really good teams out right now. So and then G2 won Blast. So like there's no like no one's in an era as of right now. So who's to
No.
say that we don't like find some cracks in these teams and actually perform super well.
Yeah. I
I'm not
definitely.
thinking it will happen, but it's always a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel like it's like I think Heroic and Astralis are the two teams we have the best chance against. I don't think like if I had to put the order of which teams we'd like to play in this particular group compared to the teams we wouldn't want to play, Astralis is top of the list, then it's Heroic, and then it's Vitality. I don't want to see Zywoo's face this entire time.
No,
I'm
no,
good
because
without
Zywo's
seeing him.
that type of dude. Like we could do well against the other four players, but Zywu just clutches like 1v3s,
He's
1v4s
just
all
gonna
day.
destroy us. Yeah, probably. I mean, he destroys
I
everyone.
kind of wish we were in like uh complexity slot, or maybe in Group B, or maybe if
That'd be
we had
interesting. Yeah.
or maybe if we were in Group C.
hmm
Obviously, you don't want to see FaZe, but I like our chances against someone like Liquid or OG.
hmm Yeah.
There's always teams around. Like I'd like to see us in Group C. Group C looks a little bit more tough. Like I don't know who we like G2. I don't really want to go up against them or Navi for whatever godforsaken reason. EG can never beat big. I don't know what it is about the Germans, but
Yeah,
they've
it's
never
terrible.
ever
Yeah.
been able to beat. Captain just has our number, so does Searson. Searson, they always make jokes that Searson can't perform on land, but then he plays EG and has like a 1.3 rated, and we're like, okay, that's. But
Yeah, it's always against us. Yeah.
anyways, I think we could shock a couple people. I think we if we could get like maybe a map or two off of one of these teams, I think that for me at least that would really show that this thing's like showing like big steps of improvement, at least on like a surface level that we're competing.
Yeah. Yeah, I really want to see. I mean, look, with the heroic game, I'm hoping for. I think best case scenario is one map. And then I think, and a close series overall. And then I think after that, I think the only team I would like to, I want one best of three win. I want one best of three win from this event. I don't care who the fuck we play and who we do it against. I just want one best of three win against one of these teams. Um,
That
that
would be
should be good
massive.
enough. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, and frankly, look, like I'll just be honest. Like this is the season. Like this it is go time. Like
This is it. Yeah,
EG has been um not very good. And they showed a little bit of hope. I don't want to, they weren't good last season, but they showed hope and they consistently were improving. This is where there's no more. There wasn't a lot of time. That's gone. That's out the window at
yeah.
this point. We need
No,
to
we've had
see
them.
what
We've had them
EG
for
is.
almost a year at this point.
Yeah, we need to see what EG is at this point. So look, this is going to be kind of the start, right? Because right after this, you're going into Katowice for the qualifier, I believe. So
Yeah,
it's it's go time now, and if EG is not good enough, if they can't win, I mean, look, realistically, if they can't win games against these teams, they won't do anything in Katowice. They probably won't do anything this entire season.
yeah.
Um,
They won't. Yeah, if they can't get at least a win, like you said, like we're probably not playing in Katowice. Like we'll probably be a quick exit in Katowice, like play in. We won't even get in the main tourney.
yeah,
Like, yeah, it's go time. Like
yeah. I don't want to be harsh, but that's just it's the
you've
reality,
had you've had a major. You've had almost two player breaks at this point. You've had plenty of boot camps. You know these players, right?
Yeah,
Like
like
I
from
think
a.
even in your interview podcast with
Mhm.
Warburg, right? I agree with him that it takes 6 plus, almost 6 months to really get to know a person and
Yep,
see how they play, right? Uh, you've had that time now,
yep,
like you've had it, so it is go time. Like show us what this is supposed to be
yeah.
and what you guys are really playing on. Because if they're at all questionable on Wiz or at all don't know what the future holds or aren't scheduling things properly, like it's just going to be another.
Yeah, I'm kind of, in terms of expectations for players, I'm very much like the only player in it that I have any amount of like, you know, give or sympathy for potentially not performing is really Wiz. At
Right.
this point, Hex
If he
has had his
slotted in
time.
this fast, yeah.
Yeah, like Hex has had his time that he needs to start. This is where he's got to start doing performances. He can't be bottom of the stat sheet for multiple events in a row. He can't do that anymore. He's gotta show something, and he's got the talent to do it, but it needs to start coming out now. Automatic, obviously he's been great, but we need to see more of it. Breeze needs to get to a star player level. Look, I'm not going to be too critical on Wiz, but serviceable, please.
Yeah.
And then Nealon, I think, has done probably in terms of all the player signings. Honestly, I feel like Nealon has been the best pickup in
Hmm.
terms of just his IGLing has been great. He's developed a style that they play, which you can question the style at times, but at least it's a style. The EG didn't even
It's an
have a
identity.
fucking yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't even
Yeah.
have one before, so I'll
Like
take
with
it.
Stewie, it was like, yeah, we're just gonna go out and pug, basically, is
Yeah, it
what
was
that
bad.
felt like.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
bad.
bad. But Nealon actually has like an identity that he wants his
Yes.
team to go in.
Yes, and he's a confident person and player from what I've heard, um, and he can frag. We saw that at the major, and he's an aggressive player who likes to make plays for his teammates, which as an IGL I very much respect, and I think that's the best way to IGL. Um, so
Yep.
but what do I want to see from him? I want to see a more developed play style. I'm looking more at how
Right.
do they play the maps? Am I seeing any development in how they play certain maps? Because yeah, Dust 2 was not a good map for them, but I could tell as I was watching the matches what they were trying to do, and I could see
Right.
that they were trying to get better with it and the different ideas they were bringing.
Right.
I need to see that now in these in the map pool. I need to see a deeper map pool now. So that's what I'm looking
Yeah.
for with Nealon and his calling style and how the team plays. It's not really like his individual form is what I'm questioning because I think that's fine. I think it's more so the IGLing ability that I'm gonna look at this event. Um,
Yeah.
and so I don't want to say I have high expectations because I don't think EG is going to do very well realistically. But I do think if this team is to become anything, this is an important benchmark to see where they're at.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No,
and it's
this is a
definitely a
big test.
key. Yeah, it's definitely a benchmark to see if they can do anything at Katowice, anything. Because if they don't perform here, they definitely won't do anything at Katowice.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I think you're right. Like Jay Hex has had a lot of time at this point. I think you give him some slack like earlier on, right? Like he had never
Yeah,
played tier one, so like understandable. Like we're gonna give that slack to Wiz now. Like this is his first big tier one opportunity, so we'll give that slack over to him. But like yeah, Hex had plenty of time, but it really says something when Nealon is above you in rating and on the scoreboard as IGL.
yeah,
Obviously, that whole trope of like IGLs are typically last is like slowly phasing out. Kerrigan's really like one of the last like enclave maybe, or one of the like last two like old school IGLs that they don't really like frag out super hard. But again, like Hex, even if you're playing that support role, right, like kind of like Rush did, like Rush wasn't last on the scoreboard. He did all the things he had to do. I think Hex has that opportunity to do that now. Like he's had the player break, he's played in a major, like he's played in some of these bigger tournaments. So now it's time for him to show what he can do. Wiz, like we kind of talked about, like I'll give him a little slack if he doesn't perform super well, right? I don't think he's about to be like rookie of the year or something at the end of 2023, but serviceable would be super nice. I don't know why, but I get this weird like feeling that this is like an Astralis and like Lucky situation. Like there's potential for it to be doing well, but like I'm not expecting it.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I think you're right. Like Nealon, I kind of just want to see like deeper playbook. I think he probably had the most struggle out of anybody, even though if they wouldn't want to say that outright. Coming over to NA, learning the way they practice, a bigger or EG's way bigger than K23 was. Like seeing how we work, and trying to get a play style developed around these guys. So I think now would be the time to see like a deeper playbook. Because there are things that I would see in like nuke matches overpass. Like if I can see what you were going for, like that's a really huge thing. But with Stewie and a little bit early on with Nealon, it was kind of like, all right, like what was the idea with that like move at that point? Automatic, I think he needs to start showing up. He obviously has probably been like our top performer in the past since he got picked up, but him and Breeze now need to be like this like Breeze and Automatic could be that old school Breeze and like Ethan like combo. Like these are
hmm
just deadly duelers like on the rifle. I think I think Breeze has gotten a lot of flack for how he's performed. But he needs to start kind of waking up as well. I think it's his time. I'd really like to see them do something because I want to see them playing Katowice. I actually plan on going to IM Dallas. I want to really see them on like the stage at Dallas. That would be really sick. I went to Dallas last year and they weren't on the stage. They didn't make the play in or the qualifiers. Like they had their own little booth at like the tournament. That was cool to see them. But like I don't want to see them sitting on like a couch in a
yeah,
booth in Dallas. I want to see them on the stage competing for this trophy in NA. So I have high expectations, but I'm gonna try to keep them tame for for right now, just because
yeah,
the season's starting. So I'm not expecting. Obviously, I'm not like, yeah, we should win these blast groups. No, I'm with you. Like if we can get a map win or even a BO3 win in this, I think that would really show that like something's kind of brewing here that we can finally start getting excited.
yeah, yeah. And I'll tame my hexed criticism to I understand EG's the worst, probably. I mean, the worst rated team at this event.
Hmm.
If you end up being the worst team and you end up being the player on the worst team who's playing the support role,
there's something to
the
say.
entry role, the chances of you being the lowest rated player at the event is, I'm not going to say likely, but possible. Um, so I understand that, but I can't be seeing Hex at the bottom every tournament. I just
Yeah.
can't do it anymore. But
Well, it's one of those things, right? Like you can be bottom on the scoreboard, but you have to be one of those players where casters, viewers that like know a little bit more than surface level can see that you're doing things that aren't like mentioned, right?
yes,
Like like people always said like, oh, like Kickert on like outsiders isn't very
hmm
good, but like, he does so many like unseen things that like like Vinny was for Fury. He wasn't super good, but like he did all the things that he was asked to. Same with like Inters on Cloud9, right?
yep,
Like yeah, he's the worst rated player every event, but like he does all the unseen things that don't get like glamorous attention. But sometimes when Hex plays and he's bottom of the scoreboard, it's like, yeah, I don't remember like one thing
you
that Hex
sometimes forget
said.
he's there.
Yeah, like I don't remember him like, oh, like yeah, Breeze got a spray down, but it was because Hex like flashed in or something crazy like that, right? Like he's playing the support role without being supportive sometimes. It feels like, but he's now had the time to be within that system, so it should work out.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
yeah. So um, very anxious going into the event, but
obviously, yeah.
yeah, but just I'm grasping at straws at this point for just any
Anything.
good result. Um, so we'll see how it goes. It's gonna start on Thursday at 9 Eastern. Um, gonna be playing heroic in a best of three. All the matches are gonna be best of threes. And there's no way for them to not make the. It's not even called the playoffs. It's like the single elimination bracket.
Yeah,
So they'll be there. They are guaranteed to play three best of threes. And at
that's a
this
good point.
point, yeah, and at this point, I mean that's better than the last time they were at Blast, because the last time they were at Blast, they didn't even really get the maximum playing time because of Rush, and the team was or because Rush was standing in and the team was new and whatever.
Yeah, they got
But
so
they
much hate
finally,
after they lost that too for some reason, and we're like, no,
yeah,
like we're playing with a stand-in.
yeah,
Like
for
yeah, he's in our
automatic,
like
yeah,
he's in our org, but like Rush does not equal automatic. you
no,
know,
and so we'll see how they do. At the very least, they're guaranteed three best of threes against top opponents. So time to see what they're made of, and you know, hopefully we can use this event as a benchmark to see if they've improved over the season, if they've gotten worse over this season. By the end of it, we'll be able to look back, obviously. And yeah, and we'll just kind of go from there. Um, so yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah, like I said, kind of a week where I didn't really expect too much, but turned out there was actually plenty. Um, so yeah, hopefully, this we'll continue doing this in the future, obviously, and yeah. Anything else you'd like to say before we obviously, say your prayers and pray to God that EG does anything at this event?
no, not a whole lot. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully, I'm able to keep coming back and doing this with you. Uh, but no, yeah, I think we just time will tell at this point. Um, we'll see come Thursday if these guys are ready to compete again for this season. And yeah, so again, thanks for having me on. I had a lot of fun doing this. So